Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mekone series. So if you recall last turn, I made a bold attempt to try and claim some lizards. We'll see how the pelt tests fare against them. So unfortunately the javelins did not do enough damage, and the peltasts swiftly routed, leaving the poor gigantes to die. On the plus side, we did rout nearly all of the lizard warriors, but this is pretty awful. Foolishly, I forgot to have an E4 in the city, so the Cryption will not begin, aka the pogrom, and so we just get a bunch of free unrest. And to make matters worse, a bunch of brigands took up residence in a ruin in the middle of this desert. So I'm sending in this E4 with these peltasts and gigantes to try again. I think I can win because there's only 8 lizard warriors. The scary thing is Kailasa just took this province this turn, so I'm very certain that Kailasa is going to go over here and try to take this. I'm sort of just hoping that he is afraid that there's too many lizard warriors and he didn't scout that. We see someone's candle over here. Heat, luck, production, could realistically be anybody. Oh, actually over here it's a lot stronger. Big growth, luck, production, order. Order 2. There is another individual's dominion all the way down here in the swamp. Expansion is looking a little rough. We've already had several defeats, and our neighbors are closing in. Just trying to spam out as many peltasts as possible. Getting low-cost just because they're cheap. Maybe in retrospect I should have got one of these human guys. I was a little worried about morale, so even though he would be a lot cheaper, and I could get some more peltasts, he has a leadership value of 60, so he gives no bonus, and he has no taskmaster. Whereas peltasts under the low coast, they at least have morale 10, but otherwise their morale is a terrible 7. I did make 1 pole mark last turn. These guys are pretty cool. I am trying to get alteration 2 to get stone skin for them to make them stronger. Mercenaries are being hired, not by me, but, you know, I don't have gold. This poor geriatric is soon to be on the way out. And looking at the score graphs, we can see Mekone is starting to fall to the bottom of the pack. So here we are, turn 7, trying to take the Lizard Province back. And I think I've brought a fair amount of troops to pull this off. Thankfully, the Gigantes hold off the Crocs while the Peltasts take all the... Are they running? They were running! From what? Anyway, no follow-up battle. Kailasa decided instead to take their army and go over here to this plains, this farmland. I'm taking my newly recruited Locos and his Peltasts, sending him south. Hopefully I can try against the Marcadas again, and this time win. And this Polmark is going to try against these light infantry and cataphracts. I'm hoping with my extra gigantes that the cataphracts won't be a big deal. And I'm casting Earthmite just in case the Polemark needs some extra killing power. He already hits really hard, but I'm recruiting a Locos again just because I want to take these gigantes and move them out immediately, because there's still easy-ish land for me to take. At this point, I'm in fierce diplomatic dealings with Kailasa, basically trying to lay out my borders, ask him not to go any further south, and we can actually see his god is here in this province, the great Sida, Sida? I don't know. He's here, though. I initially guessed that that's what his pretender was before the game started, just because that chassis has a lot of hands, and the guy's name is Hansy, you know? So here's turn 8. We have our army of Gigantes and a few Peltasts. And here we've got a healthy amount of Cataphracts and a lot of Cav. Unfortunately, I didn't think about this, but the Peltasts really needed to be on attack, not fire. Because they were on fire, they held up the line, And the Gigantes, even though they were behind the Peltas a little bit, pushed out in front of them. So now most of the Cataphracts are fighting the Gigantes, which is not what I wanted. I definitely wanted their lance charge to go on the squishy humans instead. So we'll see how this affects the battle. Polemark gets in there and starts cutting them up. So the humans run. We take out the light infantry, but we're very tired, very injured here. And yeah, I guess the Polemark got hit a little bit too hard and decides to run. Sad. I think that was definitely a winnable battle. I think I just had some scripting errors that costed it for me. On the plus side, we were able to see Agartha's Bless, as he conveniently went to hit some Jaguar tribe. You can see he is fielding a lot of Seal Guards and a few Olms, being led by a Basalt, or being led by an Earth Reader. Let's see, so his Bless is Attack Skill, Precision 3, Poison Resistance. Very smart, I think. Cold Resistance and HP. I think all this makes sense. You want Precision for your Great Olms, you want Attack Skill for your other Sacreds. Poison Resistance, just because, I mean, think of the other nations that are in this game, right? So many poison users. I don't know why Cold Resist. I guess like Atlantis and Therados, cold stuff. And Agartha is underwater, so they could do that. Agartha can go underwater, I should say. So Agartha does win, of course, as he should. He has a much more expensive army he brought to this battle, but even still, his Seal Guards got kind of messed up. These guys are healthy. This guy got chopped up. This guy got really mutilated. Him. Yeah, I mean, he took a lot of damage. He actually lost a couple, I think. He lost one. He lost one Seal Guard. And these guys are pricey. And here we can see Kailasa's, I guess, second expansion army. He has a bunch of these Bandar warriors, some Marcadas, some... Oh, this guy's horn marked. Anyway, the big shot here are these archers, these sacred archers, which are really neat. They have awe and a bunch of attacks, along with a bow. The problem is these things have no protection, so anything can put them down. He's going up against a lot of horse tribe. Also, the Bandar warriors have no armor either. Kailasa does manage to win. Unexpected event. A witch was caught while suffering her sentence of death by lapidation. What is lapidation? Oh, stoning. She uttered a dark curse. Probably wasn't a curse, she was probably just crying out in pain. Anyway, we get a bunch of misfortune in this province, which is great. Just what we want is more bad things happening. That Kailasa battle occurred up here in 120, which I guess means Kailasa agreed to my terms of not going any further south, which is good for me because my expansion has been so piss poor that I think if he wanted to take my land, or if he wanted to pressure me and just like take these Lion Tribe, he could do it, and not really anything I could do about it. I would just sort of have to concede it to him. Sending 6 fire gems to Agartha. He's giving me gold, because the situation in the capital is pretty desperate. I can't even recruit my good commanders. I have to recruit these god-awful creatures. These E4s and geriatrics. And of course, the next E4 I produce is an Air 1, just to make matters even worse. Yeah, I mean, really the issue is I just don't have very many troops. I have a few Gigantes and a handful of Peltas and slaves, but it's very little, and we still have this giant horde of Deer Tribe. And granted, Deer Tribe are pretty easy, But I've been getting, if you've been watching this province, you can see it's really been fluctuating as the turns have gone by, how many deer tribe are there. And it would be so valuable, 114 gold. It would be fantastic if I could claim it. But instead I'm just going to try again to take these monkeys down. But my expansion is very slow. We're on turn 8, and I have 6 provinces, which is pretty apocalyptic. I'm going to have to get pretty lucky to pull out a expansion that is even mediocre by this point. I'm surely not going to get a fort up before the end of year 1. I don't even have enough money to fully recruit in my capital. I'm trying to hire these archers just to act as meat shields. So yes, anyway, Agartha is to my south, and I diplomatically reached out to him. I asked him for money, and he said he'd be willing to do an exchange. I give fire gems, he gives gold. I see someone's candle is here in Port Strong, and I was asking whose dominion is this, and I discovered it was Tianchi. So I made a deal with him that I wanted Port Strong. He said he would take this province to the south of it, which is fine by me. You can go ahead and have that. I mean, it would be nice to have the death site that's here, but... And I believe also I learned that the person in the sea over here on this quadrant is Therados, so Atlantis is over here in this section. So here we are on turn 9. I failed to mention that I was begging for money from every single player in the game, I think, because I was so desperate for money. You, the viewer, have seen my situation. It is god-awful, and here my geriatric is dying of disease, so I'm already losing mages. My attempt to take down the Marcadas again, although I think there's just a single Marcada left. And this time we do it without much trouble. We also successfully scouted Agartha, sending in these black bone pirate mercenaries to fight these lizards. See how they do. Yeah, unsurprisingly, the lizards just totally butcher them. The pirates are neat because their captain can sail, so you can get over oceans and take some cheeky land. But, I mean, just look at the stats on these guys. They're terribly generic, and their protection's pretty god-awful. In the swamps outside of Mekone, children start to disappear, and strange creatures are walking around. In the 2 woods, however, we lynched a local wizard and stole 9 of his gems, and we did successfully buy the monkey mercenaries. Looks like Sarmatia got all of his mercenaries killed. He just sent them to die. I guess Pangea did too. I recruited this little commander. I think the plan is I'm sending him up here into Mudwood to build a fort, but you can see my money is still terrible. It's still awful. I'm saving a little bit for infrastructure, but still. So I'm trying for these deer tribe. I'm sending just a big bunch of gigantes and monkeys over here. I'm sending another small army over here to this desert to clean up some of the troops over here. And I'm taking this Peltas force to run into this death site, this death scale province, which should be doable based on the scouting report. This looks easy. Also, very luckily, this province had 2 magic sites, a wormwood marsh for 1 nature gem, and a lava lake, so this province is quite valuable, producing 3 gems a turn. He also moved over here with these macemen. This is when I started to get worried. I thought this was a breach of our agreement to not proceed south from these provinces, but according to him, that was just south of this province, not south of this one, so this was fair game. He decided that he was going to take the fairy forest and then not move any further. He was just going to let these mercenaries expire, which is why I'm hiring them. So anyway, here are the battles from turn 10. Got a lot of deer tribe. Thankfully, my Gigantes prove very sturdy, in the face of those deer tribe, and we wiped them out. The only losses we took were some archers getting pinged by deer tribe, which is great. That was their sole purpose, was to absorb damage. Here I am trying in the farmland, which actually had some heavy cavalry. One of these guys is diseased, I see. And this was not in the scouting report, but I think we could handle 3 of them. So a little more difficult than initially expected, but we do manage to win. This is another reason I was getting the Locoses instead of the human guy. I feel like if I didn't have the Locos and these guys had 7 morale, I would have lost this battle. I mean, it was only 2 casualties, but it's just 7 morale. That's... meh. Ew. Someone searched a hot valley in Mekone and found a bunch of fire gems. We were successfully able to hire the macemen. And we see Agartha's over here with his sacred force. Thankfully, because of these mountains, he can't pass over them, so they are free for me to get. And it looks like whoever is over here, Ubar Machaka, has decided not to come over here and get them. And Tianchi did take this province, as he said he would. I'm trying for these wolf tribe with the macemen and some peltasts. I am trying again against the light cavalry with this army. I hope I can win. I recruited a monkey man over here, I guess to build a fort, but I don't know where. Still site searching. My research is still going for alteration 2, but we're still not even there. I've spent so much recruiting Locoses that my research has really floundered, but on the plus side, it looks like my expansion is, assuming all these battles go well, recovering. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 provinces, and if I win all these fights, which is not guaranteed at all, by the way, I would have 12 by turn 11, and then I could perhaps, from Port Strong, move over here to take 1 more, and from Valadun, I could take 1 of these provinces, which means I would have 14 at the end of year 1. And considering my start, I'd say that's pretty freaking good. That's probably the best I could hope for, but it's ultimately the roll of the dice.